Today is July 7th, 2021. This is the Kubernetes CSI implementation meeting. As a reminder, code freeze is tomorrow. So let's focus today on what outstanding PRs we have for the code freeze. So let's go down our 122 list here and see what we have. First is the FS group changes. Looks like that has merged, and all what's left is to actually implement the change in the Azure driver, so that's great. The access mode is Chris here? All right. Well, I think everything in Kubernetes has merged. I think what's left is the sidecars and the drivers. So I think from a code freeze standpoint, we are good to go. It looks like mock driver has also been updated. This is interesting because I thought we are not using the mock driver anymore. Let me add a comment.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to
Yeah.
to yank them or
I
remove them.
thought Patrick was about to delete the entirety of the mock driver from the depot.
I still use them for some local testing. It's more convenient than the host path
Yeah,
driver.
but I think having to like
Maintain it.
whenever we add a feature and we have to update two drivers to test it,
Yeah.
I think makes things a little challenging. Like I think Patrick spent a lot of time this cycle making sure porting all the capabilities of the mock driver to the host path driver. So now host path drivers should be feature parity.
Cool.
All right. So I'll leave that there so we can follow up. Well, I guess he has an item for host path driver. So, okay.
Is that the scheduler issue? Is that the also in, or is that part will be for
there was some part of the scheduling was implemented, but not all of it.
Okay.
So I think the main, well, actually there's two open items that came out of the scheduler work. One was consistent enforcement of all access modes in the scheduler, because right now we only added support for this new access mode to the scheduler, but the scheduler's not looking at the old modes. So that's one open item. And then the second part that's also pending in the scheduler is handling preemption logic. I think right now this new access mode is not handled in the preemption considerations. So I think that will be a follow-up for the next release. It's a bit more complicated, I think, so we decided to defer that part.
Okay.
All right. So I think from a Kubernetes standpoint, we're looking good for code freeze. And then we have the sidecar stuff, which I believe has mostly been reviewed. I think it was mainly just waiting for the Kubernetes specs changes to land.
So we can say this has made it for alpha, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think so, yeah. All right. Next up, we have volume populators.
So my patch merged this morning. Thanks, Shing. I went around to a bunch of reviews with Tim over the weekend, and we were able to get it in shape he wanted. So that's in. So now there is a data source ref field controlled by the any volume data source feature gate. I still want to add some kind of integration tests, whether they're E2E tests or integration tests. I'm not sure. I had planned on doing E2E tests, but then Tim suggested just do integration tests to cover sort of the combination of all of the strategy and storage and validation logic for this new field, because there's just a bunch of subtlety for backwards compatibility. So there's test work left to be done. All of the out of tree work is still pending, but the in tree PR is merged.
Awesome, great
So.
progress. All right. Next up, we have recover from volume expansion.
Yeah, I didn't make it. We found some more, some race conditions. We have to kind of fix them. And the main thing is that the rounding one we fixed, but we still have the issues with the kubelet trying to expand the volume while user is trying to shrink the volume at the same time. So we have to kind of solve that, and it's solvable. I just need to update the design and everything. Just time consuming. Yeah. We'll
Okay.
use this in the next quarter.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. I mean, even though we are not able to get it in this release, I think we're still making forward progress. So that's good.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I will move this to the to-do items so we can track for the next release. Thank you. Next, we have Windows. Is Jing around? Okay. I think from the Windows side of things, I think we're mainly waiting on drivers to implement and test using the new 1.0 API to make sure that, or the V1 API, to make sure everything is working. And then they're going to cut a release once a couple of drivers have confirmed that it's looking good. I think from the release standpoint, I haven't seen anything yet, so we'll have to get an update from Jing in a bit. All right. Next up, we have a couple fixes around marking volumes as uncertain. I think is the main thing. Okay, so Jing did add the unit test for this. I guess Hamat, do you have a chance to take another look?
Yeah. Okay. I'll take a look.
Cool. And our storage tests are really flaky. I feel like it's failing on every PR. Why? Okay, we might need to investigate why these tests are so flaky. All right, we'll get back to that. And then uncertain state when detach failed. How are we doing here? No updates since June, or is there still updates? It looks like this one might require some more significant changes, so we probably won't make code freeze. All right. Let's look at this test flakiness. Yeah, it looks like it's flaking like every, I don't know, 50%, a little less than 50%, which is not great. Okay, we'll have to dig into that.
The local volume type ones are flaking.
It looks a bit random.
Yeah.
You can see it's like kind of diagonal red, which is like means a random test is flaking every time. All right. So I think that's all I had tracking for 1.22. I think Xing, you had an item that you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, so this is the vSphere CSI driver turning on this by default. So Devian was saying that based on our last meeting with the SIG architecture, we are agreed to turn this on by default in 1.22. But then we have a few questions. So I mean, I guess, are we okay with those? Just to move forward. So I think has some.
Yeah, I think in the SIG architecture meeting, we clarified that it's okay to change the default behavior for a deprecated feature as long as we have a flag for users to get back the old behavior. I think we didn't really discuss timelines though. So I guess the main question about turning on by default is, do we have confidence that the vSphere CSI driver has support for all the migration features that we want to support, like Windows as an example?
Windows, I think the plan is what was that? 2.5, I believe now the plan is in 1.5. We do have right now there is a POC. I think the plan support time is when we go to 2.5. So right now it's 2.3.
Okay. I guess the question is do we want to wait to turn on by default until we know that like all known feature parity things are implemented?
Yeah, this was my question also, like the timeline. I agree.
I guess it's also like, I guess how many people are using, we don't really know who are actually using Windows, I think. And then, so let's just maybe put the Windows aside for a minute because we don't really know who's using Windows. So we still don't know. From your side, Haman, do you have any users actually using Windows, the in-tree driver of Windows? So I guess we don't
no, I
know
think
about that.
Yeah, no.
That part is I mean, if they want to, they can still turn back, right? So there is
I think at minimum we have to carry a new deprecation notice in 122 that we are deprecating support for NFS data stores.
Oh, the NFS data store. Okay. You're saying because FCD does not support it, so we should add the small deprecation notice. Okay.
It sounds like it. Like
okay. And then whenever we add it back, then we can actually add the support back, because I think Devian was saying some on the vCenter side fixing something, but I'm not clear on the details. But yeah, this is actually just replied this one. So okay, so maybe we should say that. Okay, so I can talk to him. Maybe if you think this is the biggest confusion, then we can add that here, saying we deprecate that for now, since we don't have support in CSI driver anyway.
So I'm pulling up our CSI migration meeting notes here.
Yeah,
and here's basically our criteria, right? And so I think the main thing is go down this list and make sure you can meet all the criteria. You know, like under here it is specifically is calling out Windows as something, the criteria for on by default.
Right, I guess Devian was saying that this didn't came up when we were talking to SIG architecture.
Yeah, SIG architecture was specifically talking about the issue of turning off deprecated features with a flag. That, you know, we weren't really discussing CSI migration criteria as a whole.
So can we also turn, let's say, deprecated Windows since we don't support it until later on anyway?
But it's not deprecated, right? It is going to be supported.
But that's not right now, right? Right now it's deprecated.
But
right.
it's, you can't really, deprecating means we're going to get rid of it forever, right? Not we're going to support it eventually. But like basically the criteria for CSI migration is it should have feature parity with the in-tree plugin. And if there are features or behaviors that are not planned to be supported by the in-tree plugin or by the CSI plugin, then they should be deprecated. But there isn't really a thing for deprecating a feature that you intend to support later.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's say if we can only turn on by default in whatever, I don't even know what is the end of year. Right now it's 27, 22, 23 is what is that the end of year, right? Okay, so then 23, let's say if we turn this on by default, okay, and then the GA is what? And then that's like a couple
1.24.
Okay.
Did we we are working on adding Windows support, right? For Visual CSI driver or not?
Yeah, but it's going to be right now. The plan is the 2.5. So right now we're releasing 2.3 soon, right? So it's not going to be in 2.3. Looks like right now I thought it's in 2.4, but looks like right now it's the plan is in 2.5. So it's the end of the year. Right now the plan is end of the year, 2.5. So I think that actually aligns with 1.23 maybe. Because right now we're releasing 22. Yeah, I think end of year it's probably 1.23. Maybe align with that. So okay, so Michelle, you're thinking that we have to have Windows support before we say
yes,
we can turn this on by default.
Since Windows the in-tree driver Windows support is GA, then I think for CSI migration that becomes sort of a must-have feature parity kind of situation.
So there is also this new thing by the Windows SIG. I forgot what that is. It's not going through the proxy. So I mean, would that be affecting this somehow? That suddenly be required to have this new way of supporting Windows? And
no,
okay.
I don't think so. So I think the plan, so from what Deep and Jing have told me, the plan for the unprivileged containers thing means, I mean, so what it basically means is instead of having to call out to the CSI proxy, the CSI driver can directly make the calls as a privileged container. But from their perspective, they are going to implement API's compatibility. So the same API that's used for CSI proxy can also be used to support the unprivileged containers scenario. So from a driver perspective, they shouldn't need to like implement something twice in order to support Windows.
Okay. Oh, I just want to make sure that we write down everything because it's it sounds like we always get new things coming, then we can never turn this on.
Correct.
Right. So I just want to make sure.
I mean,
can we nail this?
Sure.
I want to write this in the stock. I know this. I actually updated the stock yesterday. I just want to make sure. Go to the vSphere section, write down everything we have to do before we turn. Because otherwise, I was also, Devian keep asking me. I was also getting confused.
Sounds good. I mean,
what is required, what is not.
The basic rule is feature parity within tree features.
Yeah, of course,
that's
great
rule,
that
right?
you have everything, but I know there was lot of discussion, so it's a little confusing, I guess. So I want to actually just write down this. So maybe I will add. I know I also was trying to pin Java. It looks like he's also out. Requirements, right? So what are required for vSphere CSI driver to turn off by default. Is that the right word? Okay, so I just want to write down everything that we talked about now. If it's already there, then we're fine, right? So
yeah,
so looks like
we can be
support,
like
Windows
we
support.
can be we can expand this point here and actually list out every single feature to be more explicit about what we mean with all these features.
I actually like this one to be under for the VC because each driver has this list. That's why it's getting confusing. So each driver has a different, the different nodes, right? So I actually want this to be under the vSphere CSI driver, so we can actually go there and see, okay, what exactly are missing that we need to add.
Okay.
Right? It's like right now, so I'm actually right now typing there. So Windows support, that's one thing that you mentioned, and then. Anything else you can think of, Michelle?
I think Hamat has this question about NFS data store.
Yeah. Data store. Should we deprecate?
Yeah, if we're gonna deprecate, then we should deprecate B, but it will affect a lot of users. Like I know personally, like a lot of NetApp customers are using NetApp, using NAS, and some other products that have NFS, that uses NFS protocol underneath.
Yeah, I think the problem is the CSI driver, since it's for FS, FTD so different. I guess that's the problem. So yeah, I will ask Devian to maybe answer this one. We'll list this one here. What do we do, right? So NFS. Okay, so I'm looking at this one. I think rule block is okay. We're actually adding that in 2.3, so it's coming. And the topology that is done. And so the 6.7 U3 that is done, right? So we have this done, meaning everything listed under this is done. And then so this NFS v4, right? Is this the one? NFS v4 data store. Okay. Anything else that we should list there? The saying it looks like the biggest thing is the Windows, because if NFS v4 is, it can't be supported FCD anyway, then we don't really have a way.
Oh my, but does this mean that NFS v3 is supported? Because some.
So what is it? Can you okay? Maybe you can write down here like what is your other questions that you said NFS v3.
Yeah, it sounds like I don't know the internal this thing, but if FCD support, there is a statement in the page that Devian link that it sounds like NFS v3 is supported. So maybe that could be a workaround, but we have to kind of be clear in the CSI driver if NFS v3 is supported, or if that is deprecated as well.
Okay. Okay, so those two. Are there any other items? I want to make sure we really capture everything that are required. So I think we have already at least we have done a lot already. So yeah, Windows support. Unfortunately, we haven't got resources to work on that. There is actually a POC implementation. So we can maybe should.
I think that's the main thing. Okay. I was just scanning through the updates on all the other drivers. It looks like all the other drivers, the biggest thing they call out for blocking on by default is the Windows support. Okay. So I think that's the main thing.
Okay. All right. So this is the main thing, and then this one basically we want some clarification, like what should the customer do? Is that your command? What should
if a customer is using NFS data stores, what can they do to use it now with the CSI driver?
Yeah. Okay. So we basically want to make sure we have those questions answered. I think at least, yeah. And then Windows support. Okay. So Windows support is the biggest. Okay. All right. Yeah, I will let Devian know.
All right. Sounds good. Anything else for 122? All right, then we will end for today. Thank you.
Oh, I have a question, Michelle.
Oh,
Is that back? Is that back from vacation? Because I was trying to schedule
yes.
a meeting. Okay, I will ping him again.
This is Patrick. Do you have you found anyone who work on the document side on this issue?
Not yet.
I can probably take some time this week to look into that.
Okay, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you. All right, any other topics? All right, then we'll end for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.